We need everyone to come down to the stage, please, for a little icebreaker thing we gotta do. Alright, everyone has to get a partner. Everyone partner up. Okay. Alright guys, so this game that we're gonna play real quick is called knee tag, okay? So basically it's pretty simple. So you're gonna have to cover your knees, right? And every time someone takes their hand off their knees, you can tag it. But if they cover the knees, then it doesn't count. So the objective is try to tag their knee as many times as you can. Okay, and then try to guard yours. So first, pretty much it's pretty simple. Like we're gonna have to.
You have to come off your knees sometime.
Okay, so basically that's what we're doing for now. Okay, so we can do that. Get a partner. Do it for 30 seconds. Hold on, let me get mine.
Okay.
It's like you can't guard your
Oh,
knees
you
the
can
whole
track
time.
points or?
Yeah, keep
Yeah, you
yeah,
treat, yeah. The winner, whoever tags the most knees,
I'm-
is the knee champion and they get a prize.
So you gotta.
Okay, okay, go. Okay, time. Okay, so the next thing, okay, now it's the same thing, but now you don't have to stay, you can move your feet, okay? So you don't have to stay at the same place at the same time. Okay. We can go one more time. Alright, on your set, go.
That's one for me.
Alright, time. So the last one, okay? So the last one, okay. Yeah, so this side, there's no boundaries. You don't have partners. Okay? So you can tag any media you find open, you can tag it. Okay, and another rule. So when I say hands up, okay, you can't guard your knees. Everyone has to hold their hands up, and obviously you can tag people. You can't guard your knees. When I say hands down, you can guard your knees. Okay? So you gotta listen to my call. Once I say hands up, everyone has to go hands up, and then
Yeah, when you say hands up, put your hands up first and then start tagging. So your hands have to go up first and then tag. Got it?
Alright. Ready? Go. Hands up! Hands down!
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hands up! Hands down! Hands up! Time! Alright guys, so who got the most counts? Did anyone count?
I did, I got the most.
Okay, well,
I'm crap.
we didn't play with the crowd. Okay, that's it.
Wait, can you go back?
Cool.
guys.
Well, maybe I was right.
Okay, so hope you enjoyed the activity. I hope you're pretty loose. Okay, so Nikki, Amber, we're doing chapter 12, treatment groups. It's almost the same thing that we had last time, but we're going to do things a little different since we're meeting in here. That means more activities that we're going to do. Nikki, Amber, and Emily are going to go today, and then me and Roberta will finish tomorrow. So if you look at your outline, you can tell that it's pretty thick, and that means we detailed our chapter extremely, to the extreme, because we don't have a PowerPoint and we're not using one on Wednesday either. So due to that, we detailed the outline, and you guys can write all over it. There are areas where you can write definitions or tell what you think. I believe the last page is an empty page. It should be. And yeah, and then there you can write any extra notes that you need because we don't have the PowerPoint for you to look at things. So if you need to remember something about any activities or anything that we're doing, then you can use that last page. Okay, now turn it over to you.
Alright, so I'm going to be talking to y'all a little bit today about preparation. And Benjamin Franklin once said that by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. And then that's pretty much how it applies to treatment groups, because preparation goes hand in hand with successful group exercises and experiences. So leaders of treatment groups should be trained in assessing human behavior and human problems, comprehensive therapeutic intervention approaches, specialized treatment therapeutic intervention techniques, interviewing and counseling, and also principles of group dynamics. So once you have the preparation out of the way, you can begin to do the homework, which I know we all don't like homework, but sometimes it's necessary. So it's essential to do your homework before your first meeting. And this is so that you can gain the needs and expectations of the members of the group and just be prepared overall. And then sometimes whenever you're starting a session, it can honestly be nerve-wracking. And by a show of hands, can I get how many people have been nervous whenever they've been doing this? Whenever they've been up here? I mean, everybody can pretty much say they get nervous. And our textbook says that some anxiety is helpful in order to mentally be alert and to facilitate your attending to what is being communicated during the session. So sometimes a little bit of nervousness and anxiety is a good thing. But if your nervousness is too high, it talks about how you can reduce it with activities that relax you. Now, the last group talked about stressors and how you can do things to relieve those stressors. So some of the things that the book says is that listening to music, exercising, or just finding a place where you can clear your mind is good ways to relax you. Or like Madison did, we could do a meditation exercise to just get us relaxed. I know I get really nervous whenever I'm presenting up here, so that'd be good for me too. And also, I'm going to talk next about the cues upon entering a group. And it's important to be on time. And this is so that you can just check and see that everything's going as planned. And also, being early gives you the opportunity to kind of observe moods, gain information, and interact with group participants. And a good leader can pick up on these cues, and that helps them connect with the participants. Also, we've done various degrees of seating arrangements. I know, for example, in the room back there, we've done horseshoes, we've done circles, we've done different table arrangements. And these are more important than you think, because it affects who can talk to whom, and also who will be in the leadership role. For example, how y'all are set up right now, I'm in the leadership role, and y'all are the participants. And this also allows me to have eye contact with y'all, and you to have eye contact with me. That means that I can see your nonverbal feedback and basically read y'all's moods and what y'all are saying with body language. And so it talks about in our book that a circle is an ideal way to get a sense of equal status and promote openness and cohesion in the group. Also, in a group, you'll have your introductions. I know we were talking about earlier who's going to go first and who's going to go second, and so on and so forth. So it's important to have your introductions so that basically you know what to expect. And this can be done by leaders in a formal or informal fashion. Also, excuse me, there are two types of members in a group. They're involuntary and voluntary. Now in a classroom setting, usually y'all are members involuntarily, unfortunately. Y'all don't volunteer to come in here and participate for an hour, but hey, what can we do?
I'm going to be talking about clarifying roles, building rapport, and exploring problems in depth. It's good when you first start out in a group to understand your role and responsibility, so being able to go to each person in the group and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, and these are what I think my responsibilities are. Groups are most productive when everyone in the group is involved, because that makes everyone feel equal. And it helps members explore their own personal issues from like different perspectives. Like if Libby has an issue, and then I'm like, okay, well I have something similar to that, and then I can relate to her in that way too. And it's also good to explain your reasoning for doing the things you do. So like we just did an icebreaker. Okay, why did icebreaker? So y'all could get active and not be just sitting there bored waiting to listen to us. And then it's also, leadership is also a shared responsibility. So like just a few minutes ago, Nikki was in the leadership role because she was presenting her part of the presentation. Now I'm in the leadership role and I'm presenting my part, and so on and so on. The way that you build rapport is by the facilitator explaining him or herself, so like building themselves up. So making sure that for example, if I were to build myself up, like I'm understanding, I care about all y'all's feelings, just so it make me be the person that y'all feel comfortable coming to. And the way that my tone is affects how y'all convey the message I'm sending out. So if I was like mad or monotone, I'd be like, oh, well, she's bored with whatever topic she's talking about. And it's also important for the facilitator to be calm and not react like in a shocking way when a group member says something. So like example, Libby, tell me something, tell me anything about your day-to-day.
Good. I liked your guys' icebreaker. And I have practice, and I only have that once a week. So that was nice. I don't know how that works.
Okay, so like, did you feel like I was interested at all? So I was looking at my phone.
I thought you were like your perspective.
Right. Okay, so Madison, you tell me something.
It's a busy day. We got a lot of stuff to do.
What'd you have to do today?
I've got to fill out an application for a job and go plan intramurals and get that set up and then do homework. And
See, so by like simple questions like that, it shows him that I'm interested in what he has to do today, in a busy day. And that's just like a small example of how you can get involved within your group. And then a big thing about when you're in a group is confidentiality. You don't want to be in a group where you know members are just going to go out and start blabbing your business to everyone at campus. So the exercise I decided to do for this is called a lean walk. So I'm going to need y'all to come back up here and get a partner.
make it easy.
Give him Does everyone have a partner? Yeah, we do. Okay, so for this, we're going to start back here. And the point of this is to just trust on the person next to you. So you're going to lean on each other. And if I just like don't put as much into it, then Libby's going to fall. If Libby doesn't put as much strength behind her, then I'm going to fall. So we have to depend on each other in order to walk. So we're just going to walk, and you're just going to walk all the way down. And this is like a trust thing, because you have to trust the other person, they're not going to drop you. So, guess y'all two can go, and then the next two follow. Good job.
You're like a crab.
All right, good job, guys. Thank you for that. You have to sit back down. And then the last section I'm going to be talking about is exploring problems in depth. So, who can tell me how you can get someone to like go deeper in an issue? More? Do you know like an idea of how to get someone to
Like participate,
like share?
to ask them like questions and give them an example of how you can relate to your question towards them.
Yeah. In the book, it says to show a film related to a topic that you want people to talk about, or you can just like present material involving the topic and ask questions like Warren said and make discussion come from that. Encourage people to share, so just encourage them. And then the last thing it says is for the facilitator to self-disclose. That way the group can see that they're being vulnerable and it's okay that they're also vulnerable with the whole group. It's better to convey empathy, not sympathy, and encourage, because it says empathy in the book, it says empathy encourages problem solving, while sympathy usually encourages group members to dwell on the problem without taking action to improve. And it's also, the book said to showing interest non-verbally is another key to get group members to participate in the group, and also summarizing whatever you hear someone talk about. So like Madison told me how his day was busy and that he has intramural stuff and homework and all this things to do. So if I were to be like, okay, so you have, and just tell him back what he told me, then that shows him I was listening and I understood the message that he was sending me. So the next person, I'm going to give it to Emily.
Okay, so after a problem has been explored in depth, the next step is to consider alternative solutions to fixing that problem. So in this step, the facilitator can begin by asking the member who has the problem if they've thought of any ways to fix the problem. And then they can also involve other members by asking if they have thought of any alternative solutions. The members who suggest alternative solutions then take on the helper role, as we've talked about before. And when you have this role, you can receive psychological rewards for helping someone else. And then you just talk about all the possibilities that can come out of this solution. It's important to remember that the group members have the right to self-determination, which means that they get to choose their own course of action in fixing a problem. This is very important because if the facilitator or the leader decides the solution for the member, there are only two things that can come out of this. Of course, the choice could be desirable for the member, and this can, that's good. Obviously, the problem could be fixed, but that could create codependency and make future decisions harder for the member. Or the choice could be undesirable, in which case the group member could end up blaming the facilitator, and this could hurt their relationship. So it's important that the facilitator remembers to say, have you thought about, instead of insisting on a course of action for the member. It's also important to keep in mind that group treatment is done with group members and not for them. Again, if you are doing treatment for a group member, it creates codependency. And so each member should take responsibility for doing the tasks for themselves that will improve their situation. When seeking an alternative solution, everyone should clearly understand the goals that they have and the tasks that need to be done in order to achieve this goal. So sometimes a facilitator will suggest to write a contract. This is an actual contract. It can be verbal or it can be written. But the contract is just an agreement between the leader and the clients in their joint efforts to achieve an outcome. In the written case, a contract should always contain the following: the goals to be accomplished, the tasks that need to be accomplished to achieve the goal, a time frame for completing the tasks, means of monitoring progress towards accomplishing the tasks and the goals, rewards for the client if the terms of the contract are met, and adverse consequences to the client upon non-fulfillment of the contract. It's important that if the group member does not meet the terms of the contract, that the leader shouldn't criticize them. They also should not accept any excuses. If the contract isn't fulfilled, you could simply ask, do you still wish to meet the requirements? Do you still wish to accomplish this goal? And if the member says yes, you should just change the deadlines, change the time frames, and allow them another chance. But you should always reward them if the goal is achieved. So a big factor in achieving a goal and in fulfilling a contract is motivation. And one way to motivate clients for this change is by motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is a direct, client-centered counseling style for bringing about behavior change by helping the clients explore and resolve ambivalence. This interviewing should always be non-judgmental, and it should be about electing the client's internal view of the situation. So it should just always be about enhancing their motivation and becoming active in their change process. There are 4 fundamentals that a facilitator should remember when doing motivational interviewing. And the first is expressing empathy, like Amber talked about. Empathy is seeing the world through the client's eyes and thinking and feeling the same way that the client feels. When clients feel that they're understood, they're more apt to open up and to change. The second is to support self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief that one is capable of performing in a certain manner to attain goals. So this is about change being derived from the individual and not from the facilitator or the other group members. The third is to roll with resistance. This can actually decrease client resistance because they don't feel that they're being reinforced for being argumentative to the facilitator. So you should always invite new ways of thinking without forcing them on the client. The last is to develop discrepancy. This says that motivation for change occurs when people perceive a discrepancy between where they are and where they want to be. So when clients perceive that their current actions will not lead them to the change that they're looking for, they're more apt to change the way they are now. The last thing that's important to understand in motivational interviewing is just the stages of the change process. The first is pre-contemplation, which is when a person does not currently see that they need to change their lifestyle. The second is contemplation, when a person is considering making the change. The third is preparation, when they've decided to make a change, but still considering how they should go about it. The fourth is action, when you're actively doing something to make the change, which usually can include things like group treatment. Fifth is maintenance, which is when a person is working to maintain their new lifestyle. This is where there can be temptations to go back to the way they used to be. And you should remember that all these stages of change are dynamic, and a person can go back and forth before they go fully all the way through. That's it. Now we're going to go back to Nikki. I think she has an exercise.
I have an exercise for y'all, and if y'all would just come down this way again. Sorry for dragging y'all out of your seats again. But the goal of this exercise is basically that I wanted to make the point that we're all individuals and we're all unique and have our own strengths and weaknesses, and we can come together and work together and create a better whole.
that came out of them. Okay, so now that y'all have the pieces, would it help if I told y'all the verse?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's probably November, or November, because it had, one body in November.
Each of us has one body with many members. These members do not have all the same functions. But in Christ, we three, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. I thought this was very effective as a treatment groups. Thank you all, and y'all did good.
Alright guys, we got some homework for y'all. I promise it's not hard, it's really easy. I will give you here, this is an evaluation, what they do at pretty much at the end of group. So fill this out. It's pretty much just base it on this class and what you think of it so far. And bring it back on Wednesday and we'll have a discussion over it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's the end of our